So, you may have seen a little game called Splitgate 2 in the news recently for varying reasons.
Because I grew up playing Halo. Yes! And I'm tired of playing the same Call of Duty every year. And I wish we could have Titanfall 3.
He just like me. He just like me, for real.
Splitgate Battle Royale launches free right now.
I see.
It's fair to say that in the past week, Splitgate 2 has become arguably the most controversial game on the market. And not just because of the game itself, but also because of how its developers, 1047 Games, have been behaving on social media. Let's just say they've not been afraid to speak their mind. So, in today's video, which funnily enough is actually sponsored by Splitgate, I want to go over the game, all of its new content that came with launch, and the whirlwind of controversy that surrounds both the game and also that new content. Now, just a little heads up about this video being sponsored. Of course, feel free to take from that what you will. Some people will just immediately write this video off, but just know that 1047 Games haven't given me a single specified talking point. They haven't told me what to say, but more importantly, they haven't told me what I can't say, and they absolutely haven't just paid for a fake review that just relentlessly glazes the game and ignores every single negative or criticism of the game that I might have. No, they have literally just paid for a Splitgate 2 video on youtube.com/hiddenxperia, talking about the game's launch and pretty much anything else that I want to. And so in this video, we are going to be brutally honest, which frankly is precisely what Splitgate 2 deserves, because man, does this game bounce between two extremes. So the main reason for all the controversy is the new mode that came with Splitgate 2 on its official launch last week. Now, this mode was teased and hyped up a ton in the lead up to its announcement, and nobody guessed what it was, and we're going to get to the impact of all of that in a few minutes, but it turned out to be a Battle Royale mode in the year 2025. Now, I was actually a really early adopter of Battle Royales. I played DayZ Battle Royale back in like 2013 quite a bit, and then also played a ton of H1Z1 in like 2015 as well, so I was really into them for quite a while, but I've been checked out of Battle Royales now for like, God, at least half a decade at this point. That said though, of course, I gave Splitgate 2's Battle Royale a shot because, frankly, I adore Splitgate 2's core gameplay, so I figured, why not, right? I'll give it a shot. And I was pleasantly surprised. The best way I can describe it is that it feels, unlike Apex Legends, like a mostly authentic Titanfall Battle Royale. Splitgate 2 Battle Royale doesn't reinvent the wheel like Fortnite did with building or like Warzone did with loadouts and buybacks, but it definitely sets itself apart in a couple more mechanically subtle ways. The standout element is the gameplay. Splitgate 2's gameplay scratches the very same itch that only Titanfall and OG COD scratch for me, and that transfers over to the Battle Royale really well. With the size of the map, or maps plural I should say, the movement really starts to feel even more like Titanfall than it does in Arena. I guarantee you the sliding in particular will it will scratch that Titanfall itch like nothing else. The portals work really well in a Battle Royale as well, and I would say that these are the most revolutionary aspect of the BR, which, of course, given that this is Splitgate, is pretty on brand. I've had quite a few really fun encounters with the portals that of course you just wouldn't see in any other BR, a couple like cool flanks or outplays with them that do feel really satisfying. Arguably even more satisfying than Arena, I think because of the limited lives. But then of course all the other mechanics that you'd expect from a Battle Royale are pretty well designed as well, I gotta say. Looting is quick, seamless, and it's really easy to pass through what loot you want in a pile or in a crate. There's earnable currency that you get by killing people that you can use at buy stations, which I gotta say is a really good carryover from Warzone that lets you buy upgrades and armor pieces and weapon attachments and stuff like that later on. There are lootable perks like we had back in Blackout and Black Ops 4, which I gotta say I really like. The standard Battle Royale airdrops are great and are really rewarding to loot as always, but I think the most standout feature is the unique way in which the map itself functions. So instead of one massive map with an enclosing circle, the map is actually 5 different maps connected via, of course, portals. There are 4 standard maps that each feature entirely different biomes and geometry styles that all connect to a central hub map called the Sanctum. As the circle closes in, it works pretty much how you'd expect it to, with the added effect though of the world portals that connect the maps together closing, one by one, making those maps impassable, with the final circle always ending in the Sanctum, which, unlike the other maps that focus more on longer range and larger engagements, this one has an emphasis on close quarters arena combat with a power weapon, either sniper or rockets, that always spawns on the central platform. Having all the external maps close off one by one, forcing everyone into that final Sanctum at the end, a small arena-based Sanctum, is really cool. The final circles in this game are insanely chaotic, but really fun. Each map can also be affected by random events as well, like for example Portal EMP, which of course as the name implies, shuts off all portal devices on that map for the remainder of the match. Or a speed boost event that increases the speed of literally everything from animations to fire rate and movement and everything else. And there's also a double damage event, an airdrop frenzy event where loads of airdrops come down, and I believe there are some others as well. I gotta say, despite feeling very much like an authentic Titanfall Battle Royale, with portals of course, every now and then you can really feel that Halo DNA just creeping in. And speaking of that Halo DNA, the way that respawns work in this Battle Royale is very unique and frankly, I think rather genius. So if you go down, you can always be revived, like in many other Battle Royales, by a teammate, but there's also a respawn timer that allows you to automatically buddy spawn after it hits 0, as long as that buddy isn't in combat. The further into the match you are, the longer this respawn timer gets, but it makes for really frenetic teamfights where you're constantly searching to finish the 4th guy before his teammates spawn back in. You know, if you pitched that idea to me on paper, I'd probably hate it, because it sounds really cheesy and unfair, but I gotta say, the way they've implemented it, especially with the respawn timer getting longer as the game goes on, it feels pretty fair, and it definitely keeps you engaged throughout the entire match, even if you die. Genuinely speaking, even if, like me, you aren't interested in BRs anymore, or you checked out years ago like I did, I still think that you'd probably enjoy Splitgate 2's BR, of course, provided that you enjoy Splitgate 2's base gameplay. It's not a hyper-revolutionary BR by any means, but it's so fun to play casually with some friends, or, I mean, hell, even solo as well. I've been playing exclusively solo with just 3 random players every game a ton this past week, and frankly, I'm kind of addicted. When 1047 Games announced the BR, they kind of went out of their way to reassure fans that they weren't going to be just dropping support for Arena because they've announced the BR, which is what a lot of franchises do. Call of Duty, I'm looking at you. And frankly, I think that's quite evident from the amount of content present for other parts of the game at launch. I mean, you've got Arena, rotating special playlists, 8v8v8 big team battle, 19 maps, 8 game types, their very own version of Forge, custom games, a file browser, daily and weekly challenges, a progression system for each of the 3 factions, and then on top of all of that, you've got the Battle Royale as well. Without the BR, Splitgate 2 is already a very content-rich and incredibly fun game with tons of stuff to do and create. The Battle Royale is just a nice little cherry on top. With all that said though, the lead up to and also the announcement of this Battle Royale was not exactly executed very well, to put it lightly, and now, as a consequence, the game is embroiled in a ton of controversy that I think is overshadowing what's frankly a really fun mode and, by extension, game as well. So, when they started teasing the official launch of Splitgate 2 last week, they also started teasing an extra big mode that was yet to be announced. Naturally, people assumed, well, the game already has a pretty complete multiplayer suite, and the devs have just released Splitgate's very first story cutscene, a very high-budget, pre-rendered cutscene giving the factions and characters some really great backstory. So, this new mode must be a campaign or a story mode of some kind, right? Like, they wouldn't do that for no reason. But Splitgate were very quick to shut these assumptions down, tweeting only 7 hours later, "It's not a campaign, think bigger." This, of course, only dialed up the intrigue, which continued to rise with their successive cryptic posts over the next few days. It all leads here. What if you could portal to entirely different worlds? 1047 had created this extremely rare scenario nowadays where fans had absolutely no idea what to expect, but regardless were excited and hyped up to their eyeballs. And then the big day rolled around. June 6th, the Summer Games Fest. After all, Jeff's glazed Hideo Kojima on stage for half an hour, which frankly is not an insult, that's very relatable, I would do the exact same thing. Ian Prue, the CEO and co-founder of 1047 Games, takes to the stage, wearing a Make FPS Great Again hat. Not at all controversial. And he then declares that Splitgate was born from a love of first-person shooters and from also being sick of the current state of the genre. They're sick of modern Call of Duty, aren't we all? And they wish that we could have Titanfall 3. Again, don't we all? This all sounds perfect. 1047 very clearly understand the plight of us who want to return to the golden days of Halo, the golden days of good classic COD, and of ingenious takes on the first-person shooter genre over the same old recycled garbage every year. And they've already demonstrated this, in part at least, with the base version of Splitgate that represents their goals and their motivations pretty well, so this new mode must be something truly revolutionary. And then seconds later, it's revealed as a Battle Royale, and then the trailer plays with none other than Imagine Dragons in the background, which makes for quite possibly the most cookie-cutter modern gaming combo in the history of combos. And then people boot the game up on launch and realize that there's an $80 bundle in the shop and even a Portal color reskin for $34. Egregious. This was, of course, the perfect storm for drama and controversy. But after a few rather spicy tweets that were later deleted, Ian took to Twitter to apologise, cementing that the Battle Royale was not a trend chase, but rather something that he genuinely wanted to make, which, personally, I do believe, given that that's the entire foundation of Splitgate as an IP. He also announced that the prices of that ridiculous $80 bundle would be slashed in half, and refunds would be issued for those who already bought it, along with also explaining why that bundle was so ridiculously priced in the first place. So the too long don't read, I guess, is that bundle slipped through the cracks. For a whole year, their head of monetization was a guy who came from Call of Duty, and he was apparently extremely aggressive with pricing. And so when he left about a month ago, Ian and Derek, the lead game designer, went through the monetization and reduced the price of everything in the game because frankly they just weren't happy with what he'd done. They reduced the price of the Battle Pass, of the Founders Edition, of bundles, etc, etc. But unfortunately, this one just so happened to slip through the cracks. Now, of course, you don't have to believe this. I totally understand why people wouldn't believe this. I personally do, but I get why people would think it would be a likely excuse. But Ian does seem pretty genuine, and everything he's posted on Twitter since has seemed very sincere. He's a very honest guy. He loves this game. Like he said, he made it in a college dorm with his best friend purely because he loved Halo. And by the way, he actually is a Halo OG. He's not just some guy who liked Halo on the corners of the franchise. Like, he competed in Halo for a while, I'm pretty sure. He was a massive Halo fan, so I'm inclined to believe him, but yeah, I get why people wouldn't. Now, you guys know my stance on cosmetic microtransactions. Frankly, I think they're an absolute plague in the industry, and they have destroyed one of my favorite elements of online gaming, that being progressing and unlocking things through gameplay and cosmetics and armor pieces having actual in-game value, not monetary value that has nothing to do with the game. But I gotta say, I definitely commend Ian and the team for acting so quickly on an issue that, frankly, 99% of other studios out there would just ignore for as long as possible because it affects their bottom line. It's very rare that you see any studio act this fast on any issue pertaining to microtransactions, so I gotta give them props for that. Watching this controversy unfold whilst I'm literally playing the game and really enjoying it myself has been quite something. I really hope it doesn't drive people away from at least trying the game out, because I swear to you, Splitgate 2 is so damn fun. The dopamine that I get from both Arena and also Battle Royale is honestly just like classic COD levels of dopamine, like COD 4 through Black Ops 2 levels of dopamine, with movement somehow even more fluid than Titanfall itself to back that up, with of course a little sprinkling of Halo thrown in there as well. This game definitely has its issues, monetization being a prime one, but I genuinely cannot recommend Splitgate 2 enough. You don't even have to try the BR either. I mean, you don't even have to play the BR. Hop in and play some Arena, or play some of the 8v8v8 BTB Assault or Onslaught mode, or maybe try forging some maps, or scroll through the customs browser and play some wacky custom game and mess around in it for a little bit. There's so much to do in this game. It's available on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation for free right now, and there's going to be new content dropping for both Arena and the Battle Royale mode very frequently as the game goes on. They've got a lot of plans for this game, and I'm very excited to see how it plays out, so definitely download it and give it a shot. Hopefully I've made it clear in this video that whether this video is sponsored or not, I genuinely enjoy this game, and I've been playing it a lot regardless of the sponsor, and I will continue to be playing Splitgate 2 beyond this sponsored video as well. So I think that's a pretty good summary of Splitgate 2, its new mode that came with launch, and of course the controversy that also came with that mode. I also want to thank 1047 Games for not just sponsoring this video, but for also just being so accommodating. Like, they literally let you talk about anything, which is literally like impossible to find in any other sponsored video that you'll ever do out there. Like that, then you will never get that anywhere else. They let you talk about anything that you like, anything that you don't like, any criticism that you've got. As long as you're honest, like, that's the best thing with these videos, and the fact that they let you do that is amazing. But I also want to thank them for being so accommodating as well, because this video was meant to go out like 2 weeks ago, but obviously things were happening for me a couple weeks ago, and I was just not in the right space to be making a video. And they could not have been more kind and accommodating with letting me push this video out like 2 weeks late, which again is exceedingly rare with stuff like this. You do not really see that anywhere else, so I just want to say a massive thank you for that as well. So I hope you all enjoyed, and again, this is me saying this, not 1047 Games. Go and give Splitgate a shot right now. It's free, and you can try out the Battle Royale mode, or the Arena mode, or the Onslaught mode, or Forge, or custom games. There's something here for pretty much every kind of FPS player. Link to download is of course in the description. So let's round this one out there. I want to give a huge thank you to all of my amazing patrons for the continued support over there as per usual. Thank you all so much, and thank you all so much for watching, especially for getting to the end as well, because this is obviously a sponsored video. Really appreciate it, guys, and I'll catch you all in the next one.